ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरये। अष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवतिरुत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी। ओम ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणि निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणि। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे। हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 17. Maharaja Prithu becomes angry at the earth. The great sage Maitreya continued. In this way, the reciters who were glorifying Maharaja Prithu readily described his qualities and chivalrous activities. At the end, Maharaja Prithu offered them various presentations with all due respect and worshipped them adequately. King Prithu thus satisfied and ordered all respect to all the leaders of the Brahmanas and other castes, to his servants, to his ministers, the priests, citizens, general countrymen, people from other communities, admirers and others, and thus they all became happy. So King Prithu was satisfied and offered all respect to all leaders. Mitra inquired from the great sage Maitreya, my dear Brahmana, since Mother Earth can appear in different shapes, why did she take the shape of a cow? And when King Prithu milked her, who became the calf? And what was the milking pot? Because Maitreya said that, you know, the Vandis and Magadas, they are glorifying Prithu, saying that, he'll milk the earth in the shape of a cow and he will flatten the level of the earth, etc. So Vidura is inquiring, so why did she take the shape of a cow? Who milked her? Who became the calf? The surface of the earth is by nature low in some places and high in others. How did King Prithu level the surface of the earth, and why did the king of heaven, Indra, steal the horse meant for the sacrifice? I said, so King Prithu will do horse sacrifices, and last sacrifice, Indra will steal the horse. The great saintly king Maharaja Prithu received knowledge from Sanat Kumara, who was the greatest Vedic scholar. After receiving knowledge to be applied practically in his life, Vijnana, how did the saintly king attain his desired destination? So we should understand that all knowledge that we receive is for to be applied practically in our life. Then we can attain our desired destination. Prthu Maharaj was a powerful incarnation of our Lord Krishna's potencies. Consequently, any narration concerning his activities is surely very pleasing to hear, and it produces all good fortune. As far as I am concerned, I am always your devotee as well as devotee of the Lord, who is known as Adokshaja. Please therefore narrate all the stories of King Prithu, who in the form of the son of King Vena milked the cow-shaped earth. Suta Goswami continued. When Vidura became inspired to hear of the activities of Lord Krishna in his various incarnations, Maitreya, also being inspired and being very pleased with Vidura, began to praise him. Then Maitreya spoke as follows. My dear Vidura, at the time King Prithu was enthroned by the great sages and Brahmanas and declared to be the protector of the citizens, there was scarcity of food grains. And the citizens actually became skinny due to starvation. Therefore, they came before the king and informed him of their real situation. Dear king, just as a tree with a fire burning in the hollow of the trunk gradually dries up, we are drying up due to the fire of hunger in our stomachs. You are the protector of surrendered souls, and you have been appointed to give employment to us. See, so the king is supposed to give employment to people according to their varna. Therefore, we have all come to you for protection. You are not only a king, but the incarnation of God as well. Indeed, you are the king of all kings. You can give us all kinds of occupational engagements, for you are the master of our livelihood. Therefore, O King of all kings, please arrange to satisfy our hunger by the proper distribution of food grains. Please take care of us, lest we soon die for want of food. Hmm. So please arrange to satisfy our hunger by the proper distribution of food grains. So this is also the role of a king. He has to give people proper occupation, mm, and because of that occupation, people will be able to uh, live comfortably. Mm. Of course, this, like I said, the occupation has to be vritti, has to be as per varnashrama. After hearing this lamentation and seeing the pitiable condition of the citizens, King Prithu contemplated this matter for a long time to see if he could find out the underlying causes. He was very intelligent, so he was thinking, what could be the reason? Having arrived at a conclusion, the king took up his bow and arrow and aimed them at the earth exactly like Lord Shiva, who destroys the whole world out of anger and during Pralaya. When the earth saw that King Prithu was taking his bow and arrow to kill her, she became very much afraid and began to tremble. She then began to flee exactly like a deer which runs very swiftly when followed by a hunter. Being afraid of King Prithu, she took the shape of a cow and began to run. Seeing this, Maharaja Prithu became very angry and his eyes became as red as the early morning sun. Placing an arrow on his bow, he chased the cow-shaped earth wherever she would run. The cow-shaped earth ran here and there in outer space between the heavenly planets and the earth, and wherever she ran, the king chased her with his bow and arrows. Just as a man cannot escape the cruel hands of death, the cow-shaped earth could not escape the hands of the son of Vena. At length, the earth, fearful, her heart aggrieved, turned back in helplessness. So she was running here and there, but finally she realized that she could not escape. So she became fearful, her heart aggrieved, she turned back in helplessness, turned back to face King Prithu. Addressing the great opulent King Prithu as the knower of religious principles and shelter of the surrendered, he said, please say me, you are the protector of all living entities. Now we are situated as the king of this planet. I am very poor and have not committed any sinful activities. I do not know why you want to kill me. Since you are supposed to be the knower of all religious principles, why are you so envious of me and why are you so anxious to kill a woman? Even if a woman does commit some sinful activity, no one should place his hand upon her. And what to speak of you, dear king, who are so merciful? You are a protector and you are affectionate to the poor. Of course, this statement is being made because generally women are uh, follow religious principles, so they don't commit sinful activities. So even if they commit, no one should place his hand upon her, meaning she should be given the due respect. And but of course, I mean, in Kali Yuga, it's very difficult. Everybody is
Don't
sinful,
understand.
including women. Men are also
Fine,
sinful, women are
fine,
also
huh?
sinful. So this may not apply in Kali Yuga. But previously, yeah, this was the position, very exalted position of women. The cow-shaped earth continued, my dear king, I am just like a strong boat, and all the paraphernalia of the world is standing upon me. If you break me to pieces, how can you protect yourself and your subjects from drowning? The cow is saying, like, I'm like just like a strong boat, and all paraphernalia of the world is standing upon me because I'm the earth. Now, if you break me, how will you live? King Prithu replied to the earthly planet, my dear earth, you have disobeyed my orders and rulings. In the form of a demigod, you have accepted your share of the yagnas we performed. But in return, you have not produced sufficient food grains. For this reason, I must kill you. So, Prthu Maharaj is saying, this is your sinful activity, that you accepted your share of the yagnas and you had an obligation, which is to give food grains, and you have not done. So, I'm going to kill you. Although you're eating green grass every day, you're not filling your milk bags. You're not filling your milk bags so we can utilize your milk. Since you're willfully committing offenses, it cannot be said that you're not punishable. Due to your assuming the form of a cow. You so lost your intelligence that despite my orders, you do not deliver the seeds of herbs and grains formerly created by Brahma and now hidden within yourself. Now, with the help of my arrows, I shall cut you to pieces, and with your flesh satisfy the hunger stricken citizens who are now crying for want of grains. Thus, I shall satisfy the crying citizens of my kingdom. The king is saying, you have all the seeds and you're not giving out any food grains, so I will have to kill you only. I mean, mm, it's just a, what is the word? Metaphorical. It's just like because she's taken the form of a cow, so king is saying, I'm going to cut you to pieces and with your flesh satisfy the hunger stricken citizens. Mm, I mean, basically, the idea is that he wants to just destroy the earth. Um, any cruel person, be he a man, woman, or important eunuch, who is only interested in his personal maintenance and has no compassion for other living entities, may be killed by the king. Such killing can never be considered actual killing. You are very much puffed up with pride and have become almost insane. Presently, you assume the form of a cow by your mystic powers. Nonetheless, I shall cut you into small pieces like grain, and I will uphold the entire population by my personal mystic powers. At this time, Prthu Maharaj became exactly like Yamaraja, and his whole body appeared very angry. In other words, he was anger personified. After hearing him, the planet Earth began to tremble. She surrendered and with folded hands began to speak as follows. He said, my dear Lord, O Supreme Person of Godhead, you are transcendental in your position, and by your material energy, you have expanded yourself in various forms and species of life through the interaction of the three modes of material nature. Unlike some other masters, you always remain in your transcendental position and are not affected by the material creation, which is subject to different material interactions. Consequently, you are not bewildered by material activities. You're not bewildered, but right now your actions seem bewildering. My dear Lord, you are the complete conductor of the material creation. You have created this cosmic manifestation in the three material qualities. And therefore, you have created me, the planet Earth, the resting place of all living entities. Yet you are always fully independent, by my Lord. Now that you are present before me and ready to kill me with your weapons, let me know where I should go to take shelter and tell me who can give me protection. In the beginning of creation, you created all these moving and non moving living entities by your inconceivable energy. Through this very same energy, you are now prepared to protect the living entities. Indeed, you are the supreme protector of religious principles. Why are you so anxious to kill me, even though I am in the form of a cow? My dear Lord, although you are one, by your inconceivable potencies, you have expanded yourself in many forms. Through the agency of Brahma, you have created this universe. You are therefore directly the supreme person of Godhead. Those who are not sufficiently experienced cannot understand your transcendental activities because these persons are covered by your illusory energy. My dear Lord, by your own potencies, you are the original cause of the material elements, the performing instruments, the senses, the workers of the senses, which are the controlling demigods, the intelligence and the ego, as well as everything else. By your energy, you manifest this entire cosmic creation, maintain it, and dissolve it. Through your energy alone, everything is sometimes manifest and sometimes not manifest. You are therefore the Supreme Person of Godhead, the cause of all causes. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. My dear Lord, you are always unborn. Once in the form of the original boar, you rescued me from the waters in the bottom of the universe. Through your own energy, you created all the physical elements, the senses, and the heart for the maintenance of the world. My dear Lord, in this way, you once protected me by rescuing me from the water, and consequently, your name has been famous as Dharadhara, he who holds the planet Earth. Yet, at the present moment, in the form of a great hero, you are about to kill me with sharpened arrows. I am, however, just like a boat on the water, keeping everything afloat. My dear Lord, I am also the creation of one of your energies, composed of the three modes of material nature. Consequently, I am bewildered by your activities. Even the activities of your devotees cannot be understood, and what to speak of your pastimes. Thus, everything appears to us to be contradictory and wonderful. So, Mother Earth is not able to understand why he is killing. Because actually, now in the next chapter, she will explain what the real reason is. Hmm. And her expectation is that the king, the supreme person of Godhead, should have known this reason and so should have actually not attempted or threatened to kill her. So she's saying, I'm very bewildered. Now she tells the actual reason. The great Saint Maitreya continued to address Vidura. My dear Vidura, at that time, after the planet Earth finished her prayers, King Prthu was still not pacified and his lips trembled in great anger. Although the planet Earth was frightened, she made up her mind and began to speak as follows in order to convince the king. My dear Lord, please pacify your anger completely and hear patiently whatever I submit before you. And because if you don't pacify your anger, you're not going to be patient to hear me out. Please turn your kind attention to this. I may be very poor, but a learned man takes the essence of knowledge from all places, just as a bumblebee collects honey from each and every flower. Learned man takes the essence of knowledge from all places. So he doesn't reject any source of knowledge, meaning he will hear from even like, once Srila Prabhupada, there was some program that was being organized and Prabhupada was there and arrangements had not happened on time. So Prabhupada was mm, pretty upset and he was like little bit shouting loudly at devotees, asking, urging them to finish off all the work. Mm. And then some new devotee who didn't know who Srila Prabhupada was, he came to Prabhupada and said, we should not get angry, like chant and be happy types. Right? And Prabhupada just took it as as a instruction of Krishna and suddenly he took out his beads and started chanting. Mm. So learned man takes the essence of knowledge from all places, whoever it is, from whom it is coming, because many times Krishna might speak through various sources to benefit all human society, not only in this life but in the next. The great seers and sages have prescribed various methods conducive to the prosperity of the people in general. Now she is telling that there are religious principles. One who follows the principles and instructions enjoined by the great sages of the past can utilize these instructions for practical purposes. Such a person can very easily enjoy life and pleasures. So these regulative principles in the Shastra, Varnashrama, have been given so that people can very easily enjoy life and pleasures. A foolish person who manufactures his own ways and means through mental speculation and does not recognize the authority of the sages who lay down unimpeachable directions is simply unsuccessful again and again in his attempts. This is the condition of current generation, right? Kali Yuga. Everybody is foolish. They're trying to manufacture their own ways and means to be happy, but simply unsuccessful again and again. My dear king, the seeds, roots, herbs, and grains which were created by Lord Brahma in the past are now being used by non devotees who are devoid of all spiritual understanding. This is the problem, that everybody, all most people had become non devotees, not following regulative principles, not having any spiritual understanding, and all these seeds, roots, herbs, grains, etc., which are created by Brahma are being now consumed by these non devotees. Not only are grains and herbs being used by non devotees, but as far as I am concerned, I'm not being properly maintained. So she's saying two problems. Overall, dharma is not being upheld. One, food is being uh, taken by non devotees. Second, kings are not doing their duty. Indeed, I am being neglected by kings who are not punishing these rascals who are turned into thieves by using grains for sense gratification. Hmm. So grains should not be used for sense gratification. And when grains are used for sense gratification, kings have to punish those people who do that. So if the administrators are not so responsible, then what happens? Mother Earth holds back. Consequently, I have hidden all these seeds which were meant for the performance of sacrifice. So these seeds, grains were not meant for sense gratification, they were meant for sacrifice. Hmm. So we should understand, saying that the people suffering in today's material world are not because there is no possibility of growing food. It is just because they are being misused. So Mother Earth just holds back the resources, because these resources were created by Brahma for actually performance of sacrifice. In Bhagavad Gita, we know Yagnartat Karmano Netra. Uh, uh, Krishna says that beginning of creation, all jivas were sent with instruction saying that do this sacrifice and you'll be happy. So yagna is what human beings have to do. And for doing yagna, grains are required. But now what is happening? Uh, these rascals who have turned into thieves by using grains for sense gratification but not for yagna. As a result, Mother Earth has held back all the seeds. Now, and she's held back all the seeds, and now what has happened? For a long time, this has been going on. Due to being stocked for a very long time, all the grain seeds within me have certainly deteriorated. Therefore, you should immediately arrange to take these seeds out by the standard process which is recommended by the Acharyas or Shastras. Mm. So this was the real problem, and that is why Mother Earth was expecting the king to have known this problem and then to have acted accordingly, not run behind her. So she said in the previous chapter, saying that I am bewildered. O great hero, protector of living entities, if you desire to relieve the living entities by supplying them sufficient grain, and if you desire to nourish them by taking milk from me, you should make arrangements to bring a calf suitable for this purpose, and a pot in which the milk can be kept, as well as a milkman to do the work. Since I will be very much affectionate towards my calf, your desire to take milk from me will be fulfilled. My dear king, may I inform you that you have to make the entire surface of the globe level. This will help me even when the rainy season has ceased. Rainfall comes by the mercy of King Indra. Rainfall may remain on the surface of the globe, always keeping the earth moistened, and thus it will be auspicious for all kinds of production. So if the ground is surface is level, then the rain will remain and it will keep the earth moistened, and thus it will be auspicious for all kinds of production. After hearing the auspicious and pleasing words of planet Earth, the king accepted them. He then transformed Swayambhuva Manu into a calf and milked all the herbs and grains from the earth in the form of a cow, keeping them in his cupped hands. Others who were as intelligent as King Pruthu also took the essence out of the earthly planet. Indeed, everyone took this opportunity to follow in the footsteps of King Pruthu and get whatever he desired from the planet Earth. So now who all took what? That's described. All the great sages transformed Brihaspati into a calf and making the senses into a pot. They milked all kinds of Vedic knowledge to purify words, mind, and hearing. All demigods made Indra into a calf, and from the earth they milked the beverage Soma, which is nectar. Thus they became very powerful in mental speculation and bodily and sensual strength. Sons of Diti and the demons transformed Pralhad Maharaj into a calf, and they extracted various kinds of liquor and beer, which they put into a pot made of iron. Inhabitants of Gandharva Loka, Apsara Loka, they drew the milk into a lotus flower pot. The milk took the shape of sweet musical art and beauty. Fortunate inhabitants of Pitruloka, they milked kavya, food offered to the ancestors, into an unbroken earthen pot. Inhabitants of Siddhaloka as well as inhabitants of Vidyadhara Loka transformed the great sage Kapila into a calf, and they milked out specific yogic mystic powers, beginning with Anima. And the inhabitants of Vidyadhara Loka acquired the art of flying in sky. Others also, inhabitants of planets known as Kimpusha Loka, made the demon Maya into a calf, and they milked out mystic powers by which one can disappear immediately from another's vision and appear again in a different form. Then Yakshas, Rakshasas, ghosts, and witches who were habituated to eating flesh transformed Lord Shiva's incarnation Rudra, Bhutanatha, into a calf and milked out beverages made of blood and put them in a pot made of skulls. Thereafter, cobras and snakes without hoods, large snakes, scorpions, and many other poisonous animals took poison out of the planet Earth as their milk, kept this poison in snake holes. They made calf out of Takshaka. So, like this, four-legged animals, trees, etc. Planet Earth supplied everyone his respective food. During the time of King Prithu, the earth was fully under the control of the king. Thus, all the inhabitants of the earth could get their food supply by creating various types of calves and putting their particular types of milk in various pots. My dear Vidura, chief of the Kurus, in this way, King Prithu and all the others who subsist on food created different types of calves and milked out their respective eatables. Thus, they received their various foodstuffs, which are symbolized as milk. Thereafter, King Prithu was very satisfied with planet Earth, for she sufficiently supplied all food to various living entities. Thus, he developed an affection for planet Earth, just as if favor his own daughter. After this, the king of all kings, Maharaja Prthu, leveled all rough surfaces on the surface of the globe by breaking up the hills with the strength of his bow. By his grace, the surface of the globe almost became flat. To all the citizens of the state, King Pruthu was as good as father. Thus, he was visibly engaged in giving them proper subsistence and proper employment for subsistence. After leveling the surface of the globe, he earmarked different places for residential quarters, inasmuch as they were desirable. In this way, the king founded many types of villages, settlements, and towns, and built forts, residences for cowherdsmen, stables for the animals, places for royal camps, mining places, agricultural towns, and mountain villages. Before the reign of King Pruthu, there was no planned arrangement for different cities, villages, pasturing grounds, etc. Everything was scattered, and everyone constructed his residential quarters according to his own convenience. However, from the time of King Pruthu, plans were made for towns and villages. So, town planning, etc. All has started from the time of King Pruthu. Yeah, Prabhu, you had some question.
Yes, Rohit, Hare Krishna. So apparently, lot of other Loka citizens like Siddha Loka and all, they were also milking Mother Earth, right? So this
Mm.
shows that the Earth which we are having currently today, it is not the Earth which is being spoken here, right? It is like Jambu Deepa, I think.
No, Earth only.
Yeah, because Siddha Loka and these other Lokas, they are
Yeah, they're
outside.
coming, but we should not speculate. See, unless there is anything mentioned different, planet Earth is planet Earth. We'll have to read the purports to see, but as far as I remember, there's no other. It's just the planet Earth only. Of course, I mean, see, Prabhupada doesn't go into a lot of details about these things which are not directly connected to bhakti or relevant for us, so he doesn't write too much purports. But you can read purports for this chapter to see if anywhere it's being mentioned, if this is not planet Earth but something else. But as far as I've read these purports, there is no mention of anything else. It's just the planet Earth. Now we should also understand, like I said, like demigods are also maintained by doing yagnas on Earth, right? So which means that the maybe there are just beyond normal yagnas. Also, maybe there are resources. Also, these uh, different planetary residents take from Earth. Or maybe this was a one-off situation where it was very critical and then they had to depend on Earth. No, I mean, yeah, it's just speculation because it's not, doesn't seem to have been mentioned what the reason is that others came. But at the same time, it's not, I don't think it's mentioned that it is not this Earth but some other Earth. See, actually, this from the beginning, the Earth is Earth only. As far as I've read Bhagavatam, there is nothing like some transformation or some it was something else before and became something else later. There's nothing like that. It is always what it was, and learned sages knew it as it was because it was what was created by the Lord, and the Lord has mentioned about it in Shastra, so they knew it as it we know as we know now from the Shastra. So I don't think it's something else. But why they came and dependent on things here, that's not, I think, commented upon.
Okay, bro. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so okay, I think we will. There's some purports I think in this which are important. Chapter 19, King Pruthu's 100 horse sacrifices. The great sage Maitreya continued, my dear Vidura, King Pruthu initiated the performance of 100 horse sacrifices at the spot where the river Saraswati flows towards the east. This piece of land is known as Brahmavarta and it is controlled by Swayambhuva Manu. When the most powerful Indra, the king of heaven, saw this, he considered the fact that King Pruthu was going to exceed him in fruitive activities. Thus, Indra could not tolerate the great sacrificial ceremonies performed by King Pruthu. In the material world, everyone who comes to enjoy himself or lord it over material nature is envious of others. This envy is also found in the personality of the king of heaven, Indra. As evident from revealed scriptures, King Indra was several times envious of many persons. He was especially envious of great fruitive activities and execution of yoga practices or siddhis. Indeed, he could not tolerate them and he desired to break them up. He was envious due to fear that those who perform great sacrifices for execution of mystic yoga might occupy his seat. Since no one in this material world can tolerate another's advancement, everyone in the material world is called Matsara, envious. In the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam, it is therefore said that Srimad Bhagavatam is meant for those who are completely nirmatsara, nirmatsaranam satam, vastam, vedyam vastavam atra vastu shivadam, tapatrayon moolanam. In other words, one who is not free from the contamination of envy cannot advance in Krishna consciousness. In Krishna consciousness, however, if someone excels another person, the devotee who is excelled thinks how fortunate the other person is to be advancing in devotional service. Such non-envy is typical of Vaikuntha. However, when one is envious of his competitor, that is material, the demigods posted in the material world are not exempt from envy. Actually, Prabhupada in the, like I said before, also in first chapter only, Prabhupada writes that devotees above mundane competition. Now, we should never get into this competitive mood on the material front. Of course, Prabhupada triggered transcendental competition in book distribution, specifically in book distribution, and he used to ignite that fire by, yeah, setting up like one team against the other. But that was transcendental, not material. Mm. And we should not, and that was not to envy somebody else. It was just to deliver better service, deliver, do more for Krishna's pleasure. It was not for some sense gratification or personal happiness. So devotee should never envy anybody. Of course, we should never even factor in or think about others' material progress, let alone envying it. We should not even bother. And that is why we should stop talking to devotees about their material position. As soon as we see somebody, like I keep saying, either we talk about their body, about their clothes, about their possessions, about their work, about where they went for holiday, blah, blah, blah. All material, blah, blah. That we should not do at all when we meet devotees. We should only talk about spiritual stuff. And even there, then if somebody came after us in Krishna consciousness, somebody is doing better than us, we should just understand saying that, just that person is fortunate and he's got the mercy or she has got the mercy of Krishna. And we should be happy that, we have association with such devotees so we can learn. Actually, we see practically in our preaching, I mean, so many devotees who are so extraordinary in various services, which I personally myself cannot think of doing. And it feels so nice, actually, that Krishna is so merciful that he's given us the association of such exalted devotees who are all exalted in their own manner. Mm. So there's no question of envy. Mm. And devotees also should not, I mean, all these, I see a lot of complexity in, dealing with devotees. Devotees don't seem to, I mean, all dealings still seem to be on the material platform. I know of existing conflicts between devotees, where everybody, I mean, one set of devotees are seeing another set of devotees mundane platform, mundane view, mundane way. Mm. So some things we have to be very, very clear about, in terms of when it comes to dealing amongst devotees. One is seniority is very, very important, right? This is something which is even maintained in Golok also. So we have to respect devotees who are senior, and senior means more advanced. And for us to recognize who is more advanced, we have to have not have material uh, behavior. We should not be behaving materially, because otherwise we will look at everybody on the material platform only. We should be able to recognize somebody else's spiritual advancement and then respect them for their position and know that we are not as advanced as them. Mm. But for all this, we have to be able to recognize and appreciate other devotees' spiritual progress, mm, for which we should read from Srila Prabhupada's books. Only then we can understand and recognize these things. Otherwise, just mundane vision, we will look at everybody on the from materially and deal with everybody on material platform. Mm. So it's very, very important that dealings amongst devotees should not be material. So this is one mm, major topic, especially when devotees come together to live in devotee communities. Mm. So once I had gone to meet my Guru Maharaj with respect to some potential farm project in Karnataka, and then he just and I was talking about water and agriculture and this and that and all that, and Maharaj simply said, "This is all okay. This is all not major. It can be solved." Mm. But he clearly said the major reasons why farm communities fail is because communities, people cannot live with each other. Devotees cannot live cooperatively with each other. Devotees are envious. Devotees are acting on the material platform. This is the problem. Mm. So it is very, very important. That is why one of the first things that is required for us in you're doing bhakti is association. We have to do bhakti in the association of other devotees. And this is very important. Mm. Because in the association of other devotees, we have to give up our false ego, our envy, our all these anarthas. And we will be tested. We will be tested. I mean, so when we come together to preach, obviously there will be differences of opinions, but there is a way to reconcile it, discuss, come to a decision, etc. But yeah, it's not easy because unless we are advanced, we cannot raise above our mundane, thought process and actually deal with others on the spiritual platform. I'm being very, I'm not being very specific. I'm generalizing the problem because I don't want to pick up specific situations, but I see it all the time. I see it all the time. I see it only amongst devotees who are not doing regular Shravanam. This also is a problem I've observed. Those who do regular Shravanam, they are normally very, you know, introspective and they're thinking about their behavior and what they hear in Prabhupada's purports, etc. But those who don't hear, they just you become mundane. Their thought process becomes mundane. So very, very dangerous. That is why I don't encourage devotees to do service without doing hearing. Mm. If devotees just engage in service and not hear, then that service will be material. That service will become like material work. It will lose its significance, its spiritual significance. So very, very important that devotees actually do Shravanam. Otherwise, all these mundane qualities will be visible. So I'll stop here. Very, very important. And it is required that devotees come together, invest their time and energy to engage in service, etc., along with other devotees, and also at the same time deal with all these people interaction, people related complexities on the spiritual platform. Then we make progress. That's very, very key. Okay, I'll stop here. If anybody has any questions, comments, any thoughts? Okay, then we'll close here. श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, जगत गुरु शिल प्रभुपाद की जय, वांछा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिंधुभ्यो च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव हरे कृष्ण।
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat